President Obama doesn't actually drive this massive black Cadillac limo, affectionately nicknamed the Beast. Instead, he rides in back, deep inside its heavily armored bodywork. There are reportedly a dozen such limos used for presidential duties, each one powered by a gasoline-burning V8 engine that returns less than 4 miles per gallon. But President Obama didn't always ride in such a massive vehicle. This is the car President Obama drove before he was elected president in 2009 in Naperville, Illinois. The car Barack Obama drove to election victory in 2007 was put up for auction on eBay with a whopping $1 million asking price on January 30, 2012 in Chicago. According to the Illinois-based private seller, the Hemi-powered Chrysler 300C sedan was driven by Obama when he leased the vehicle in 2004 after just being elected Senator of Illinois. A certificate of title, proving that the sleek gray car was registered in Obama's name after being driven only 2 miles, is included in the sale. The service history shows that the Chrysler was driven for 19,000 miles before Obama traded in the vehicle after becoming president in the summer of 2007. Bill Clinton's 1967 Ford Mustang convertible. Bill Clinton's younger brother Roger first owned this 1967 Ford Mustang before his older, somewhat more famous brother parked it in his own driveway. It's not often that a US president is allowed to drive himself anywhere, so we're sure there was plenty of security around Clinton as he helped celebrate the Mustang's 30th anniversary in 1994. He reportedly drove at a total of 250 feet. Every 4 years, the United States holds an election for a new president, and that means candidates hit their respective campaign trails in an effort to win favor with voters. This year, one of those hopefuls is Donald Trump. The Republican nominee for President of the United States of America has been seen riding in a Chevy Suburban. Trump likes to point out that his Chevy was built in America, but he can't say the same for all of his cars. Trump is known to own a couple of Rolls-Royce models that were made in England. The businessman has also owned Mercedes, McLaren and Lamborghini models that were also assembled in Europe. George W. Bush's Ford truck. Former President George W. Bush and First Lady Laura Bush are seen here driving on their sprawling ranch in Texas. As befitting such a location, the vehicle Bush chooses to call his own is a full-size pickup truck, specifically a white Ford F-Series. Harry Truman, the 33rd President of the United States, was a lifelong Chrysler buyer and driver. 2 of his first cars, both white Chryslers from 1941, are on display at the Truman Presidential Library near Kansas City. Perhaps more interesting, though, is what Truman drove after his presidency. Naturally, it was a Chrysler, which he purchased brand new in 1953. But the strange part is that he drove it himself, embarking on a road trip from Washington to his home in Kansas, with his wife in the passenger seat. That's something we'll never see happen again. Hillary Clinton, former Secretary of State, former First Lady, and current Democratic nominee for president, has also been using a Chevrolet. Her campaign has made news due to the use of an unexpected vehicle. The vehicle in question, a Chevrolet Express that has been customized by the Explorer Van Company, is armored, according to Time, and driven by members of the Secret Service. The presidential limousine in which President John F. Kennedy was shot, seen here, is on permanent display at the Henry Ford Museum, Dearborn, Detroit, Michigan. The car started life as a 1961 Lincoln Continental 4-door convertible, but it was modified for presidential use and renamed X100 by the Secret Service. Surprisingly, the car was not retired after JFK's death, instead being further modified and reused by Presidents Johnson, Nixon, Ford, and Carter before being decommissioned in 1977. Lyndon B. Johnson's Amphicar. LBJ earns the distinction of having the strangest car on this list. It's called an Amphicar, and, as you can see, it can drive on land or float on the water. In a bit of truth being stranger than fiction lore, Ronald Reagan's Subaru Brat. According to rumors and reports, former US President Ronald Reagan drove this exact red Subaru Brat around his own personal ranch in California. In a strange bit of history, Reagan apparently used the vehicle at the behest of Subaru, giving regular performance reviews to the Japanese automaker about how well the car operated when used as a real working truck. The Subaru Brat was recently restored. Gasoline wasn't always the only way to get around. In fact, William McKinley, the 25th president, was the first in history to ride in an automobile. The car? A Stanley steamer. As its name implies, this was a car powered by steam, and, by all historical accounts, quite an advanced and performance-minded machine in its day.